share out, and make sure you share it out to people and encourage them to come and have any questions or thoughts on that.
Oh, sounds good.
I think the Munichburg Association's pretty excited, and we are too. So we were glad to be able to do that. I can't speak too much, but I know our December meeting, we will have to look at our December meeting date. And I know that we were talking a little bit about doing a in-person event for the holidays. So we'll let you know a little bit more on that. Martin Luther King breakfast is coming up in January. And we will be giving you more information, but usually last year it was at Quinn Chapel. We are working on the location. It's usually like 9 to 10:30, something like that. And we have breakfast there, and we have a speaker, usually from out of town, and it's usually a great event for everybody to come to. So it's a great way to refresh yourself and also really get to come together, both remembering Martin Luther King and also really what Martin Luther King and his work that we carry on today. Hey, Rod. Let's see if he comes on.
Oh, there we go. Hey, sorry for the delay.
No worries. Yeah. We're going through the agenda. How are you doing?
Oh my God. You know what? It's a beautiful Monday.
Wasn't it gorgeous today?
It was. Yeah. Despite my best efforts, I feel like it was snatched from me, but we won't dwell on that. It's fine.
How does that happen? It seems to happen, doesn't it?
It does. You know, even though you try to plan around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. Well, I heard you talk about MLK.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a wonderful time.
You have anything to add to that?
No, not exactly.
Touched on it.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
Okay.
I think one of the things that, as we've done in the past, and we may want to do it again this year, but it's up to everybody, to recognize a couple of folks who are here in our community, and just thank them for their service, on this day of service. And so we might think about it. Yeah.
And I just touched, Rod, on the December meeting. I know we're still talking about that, and we might have an actual, like a holiday, short holiday get together or something. So I don't have any more information than that other than to let them know we're looking at that.
Right. No, and I think that'll be perfect. Yeah, that's going to be, and as much as we can get folks together, I haven't checked the dates against the rest of the community calendar, but fancy folks who have printed invites and shrimp at their parties are starting to send those things out. So hopefully we don't conflict with too many of those.
Now you know what you need to have on your menu.
Yes, I do. Maybe we'll just have our event at their place, on the same day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
I think it would be like a flash mob party.
Can you imagine?
We just break into the best party in town.
We had a heck of a turnout that year. I don't know what happened.
That's a good idea.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun.
So the next item on our agenda, and Rod, I don't know if you can see the screen, so just tell me if you have something you want to say or whatever. But we are working on Get Out the Vote for 2024. Next election will be April 2nd. It's municipal, which that means your city council. And we were talking about that informally before the meeting started. And the school board, I believe there's also a couple of county seats. But we are looking for people who will want to help us with voter registration and knock on doors for getting out the vote, asking people if they're planning on voting, giving them election information. So anyone that's interested, you usually get my emails, Julie Allen, or you can always text me or message me through Facebook. we would really would like the community to help us in getting out the vote. And I know, Rod, Governor Holden and I were talking about how municipal elections, how the city council and school board are so important. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, but
yeah, well, I just couldn't agree more. Yeah, because as we think about some of our stuff, I mean, and our stuff being like whether or not CRT is going to be a talking point in some of these local areas, and what effect it's going to have. You know, just recently, I posted a little article. I have to think about whether it was in Missouri, but some folks who were opposing ideas that the community didn't agree with got completely ousted from their school board. You know, to the extent that we need to protect our school board and our schools and the children in them, this is the time to do it. And if we want to see good stuff happening in our community, this is how we determine that that's important. So,
yeah.
I
know Governor Holden was talking a little bit about the work he's been doing internationally on really with mayors and local municipalities. And it sounds like you see that across the whole world, Governor, as far as how a mayor or council members, whatever those posts are in other countries, how they can be so important for the community.
The mayors are actually, in my book, the most critical element of our culture and our economic success, because mayors to survive have to stay in touch with people at the ground level.
And there have been quite a few issues, like Rod said. We've seen some candidates run saying that they believe critical race theory is taught in our school district, which we know it's not. And they have not been elected in the past, but we also have some issues in the city council related to whether you support parks and recreation. There are some of our council members that appear not to, and others that do. Whether you support capital improvement tax and the commitment that prior city council members and mayors made to the voters, and the voters voted and approved the tax because of what information was provided to them. Some city council members say they don't care about that. They're not beholden to that. And other city council members feel it's very important to honor and respect what the voters voted for. So there's quite a few issues like that whatever side you're on. I know the NAACP focuses on issues. We really don't endorse candidates, but we do a scorecard based off issues like that. And these are some really important issues for our city and for our school. So,
right.
Okay.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, we're getting our ground game together. That's all that we're doing right now.
That's right. So, Rod, you want to talk about, is it Fulton branch or is it really Callaway County branch? That's
it's the Fulton branch, interestingly.
Okay.
Yeah. So they had their Freedom Fund dinner, and I understand that it was a very successful dinner, more successful than in recent years, certainly. Everybody was happy. I think James Robinette was presiding as the president and was kind enough to carry a message from the Jefferson City, or actually Missouri State Conference NAACP, about voter ID. You know, that hearing is going on, or the trial is actually going on, starting on Friday. And it'll be Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving. And we're encouraging all of our members to come. And if you can't be there every day, come for a day, come for a few hours, you know. The media will be there. I think it's important that everybody understand what an important issue this is. And so they took that message to the Freedom Fund dinner. Richard Brown, Representative Brown from Kansas City, who's also on the tourism committee and has made a point to visit as many Missouri counties as possible, was well received. Webster Davis attended on behalf of the state conference. And, Webster goes to work, I think, at 3:45 in the morning or something crazy like that. So, he didn't stay for the whole dinner, God bless him, and I don't blame him. So it was good, and I'm really happy about that. I also found out that Joplin just had their Freedom Fund dinner this weekend, And there, um, if you give me a couple more minutes, I'll remember who it was that spoke. Um, Shucks, it just left out of my mind. But they had a great turnout. They had 112 people, roughly, and that's more than they've had in years past. Pandemic has done a wonderful job on our ability to bring our members together, and I say that wonderful, like nothing else has been able to do it like the pandemic has. So I think everybody's looking forward to going back to having the hundreds of people that they normally have at the Freedom Fund Dinner, as are we in Jefferson City. So, both of those things are going on. I'm very impressed by the work that I see going around the state. The executive director, Olivia Penner, is just doing some incredible work. We have at this point, I think 27 units that are up and functioning. That includes a number of student units that just need to be recognized by the national office. And so I think that's incredible. It's incredible. It'll be the first time in a long time that we've been able to do that. And it's just with the support of paid staff. This is one executive director, no secretary, right? No administrative assistant. So what we need to do is bring together enough money so that we can actually pay people to do the work that needs to be done on behalf of the NAACP, just like some of the other organizations do. And, whether they're professional in nature or claim to be, but have these quasi social impact issues that keep kicking Black and brown people and poor people into the dirt. I think we got to, start dealing with that and recognizing it. So there is an honest push to get money into the NAACP. I was just down in North Carolina at the invitation of Wells Fargo, and had a great conversation with them. I also met with JetBlue. We'll be following up on both of those opportunities. And let me just say this. If there's a corporation, a company, or some entity out there that you think may have interests that align with the NAACP, I need to talk with them. The last thing that I want to see happen is for us to make a wonderful start to get these units back up and going, to have literally almost a dozen youth units moving forward, and then have to take a step backwards because of funding. Right? We had a sponsor, for example, for the NAACP, the conference, for the Freedom Fund Dinner, that literally gifted memberships to 6 units worth of youth. Now, why wouldn't we want that to happen every year? Yeah. So we got to keep it up. So that's the Big Rod Chapel things that we got to do. Plus, the legislative session is about to start. And if you thought last year was a mess, I think this year is going to be messier, to be honest with you. So let's prepare to go to the Capitol and give them hell while we're there.
So, Rod, on the trial for photo ID, you said it starts Friday. So tell us where if somebody wants to go to it or part of it, where would they go and at what times?
Thank you. So the trial's going to start at 9:00 each day. It'll probably end about 4:30. If you can show up, and come and be there at 9, that's great. If you want to do the end part of the day, or if you can be there all day, I think that there's going to be good stuff to do. To see. We're going to start the first 2 days with witnesses. I'm not sure whether I'm going on Monday the 17th or Friday the 17th or Monday the 20th. But either way, you'll see the people who brought the lawsuit, right? You will learn their story. And then on the last 2 days, I think you're going to see Jay Ashcroft get up there and tell his lie, right? That we have to do this for election integrity. That's not the truth. That there is not a disparate impact. That's not the truth. He admitted that when he was talking to the legislatures, the Missouri legislature. So that's what we'll see. It's at Cole County on High Street, and I can't remember the cross street. Is that Monroe, maybe?
The Cole County Courthouse. Okay.
Cole County Courthouse.
Yep. On High Street. Okay. And so it's going to be this Friday through next Wednesday?
Correct. That's right.
I'll put something out to the members about that if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Because, and that's, it's funny. You think, oh, well, people won't notice. But when there's a law school student at WashU, his name is Dante Phillips. He is a bright light. He may be one of the brightest people to come out of Missouri in a long time. And he was there as a Lincoln student, a scholar then, and brought a number of Lincoln students with him. had national media coverage at his presence. And I think that that's just the power that we in our stories have. He was a person that's been affected. We have people here who've been affected. You know him, I know him. Let's make sure that the stories are told. And the media is going to be there. So who are we not to, allow them to tell our story and to do something that's good for America,
And do they usually break like at noon for lunch, or does it vary?
Yeah, typically they break at noon. Yeah.
Okay. So that gives you all the idea, because I plan on going, but I won't be able to go every day or all day to the days. So I'm looking forward to hearing the testimony of the people that have been affected. Nothing against Secretary of State Ashcroft, but I really don't plan on listening to him. So I figured that'd be a waste of my day. So that to the lawyers to have to sit there for that.
Right. Well, and isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, talk about a waste of a day. Oh my goodness. I remember he came to the voting summit and he told the same lie that I think it was Judge Callahan said that he cannot say. Just show it to voters. Yeah. I mean, he literally said that. And we were like, the court said you can't say that. And he's like, oh, well, that's not what they meant. Jay, don't do that.
It's disheartening. But
it is.
Elected officials don't always do the right thing, or so.
Yeah, I'm with you, but they ought to try. Yeah,
some do amazing stuff. It's always hard to be an elected official, but sometimes some of the elected officials literally do not do their jobs. So
that's right.
That's my personal indictment on Secretary of State Ashcroft.
Well, isn't he going to be our next governor? Governor Ashcroft?
He's running.
You should, make sure you vote for him.
He's running.
Because you always need a governor that can tell a lie. I'd hate for the governor to be required to tell the truth. Wait a second.
Webster, you want me to put that in the minutes?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Get it right. We don't have we don't endorse candidates, but we do tell the truth. So.
That's why we're always behind the 8 ball.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have anything to say about the LU chapter?
I understand that the paperwork is in front of the national board, who has to approve all, whatever it is that units do. And so they're waiting on that paperwork to get done and signed and agreed to. There shouldn't be any hiccups. So they should be, they're on campus. They are meeting. They've got leaders. They're moving ahead, for a bunch of young folks who some folks would be like, I bet you they want to make T-shirts and, that kind of stuff. They're worried, yeah. They're worried about reproductive health care, right? To make sure that access to, just frankly, hygiene and stuff like that. They want to make a way for not only themselves, but for other people, even off campus. I think that is beautiful. And I'm excited to see that fire catch on. We've got 5 other counties around the state that are doing 5 other units around the state that are doing the same thing. So,
Rod, have they connected up with the Missouri Health Council? We assemble emergency contraception kits here in Jefferson City and in Columbia, and then you can give those out. So I can connect them up if they need to.
Yeah. I think that would be smart. And the transportation situation has apparently gotten more dire. They don't have access to, there's a shuttle, and Glenn, God bless him, drives the shuttle.
Is that what Glenn said? He's driving the shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
He's driving the shuttle, the LU shuttle.
He sure is. And he takes kids back and forth to like Walmart and stuff, but they don't run all the time. You know what I mean? There's only certain hours that the shuttle's available, and kids have jobs and classes and whatever else they do. So I think that's the real thing that we really need to be thinking about.
It is a real problem. Our transportation in Jefferson City is a real problem, and it needs to be handled. So that is definitely true. And I know it is for Lincoln students, especially with them being further away.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Okay. So some of you may know in October, I think it was on October 6th, we did a legacy tour. It was a trolley tour primarily, but we also went up to the Lincoln Archives that stepped people through, and they got to see some of the characters come alive through the very beginning of Jefferson City, which a lot of people do not realize there were Black people that they were enslaved, but they were brought here and they helped build Jefferson City. All of the tanneries and inns and taverns and hotels and restaurants. All of these things were items that Black people worked at, because we all know that people were not enslaved, so they could sit back and watch the people who enslaved them work. It was the other way around. So some of the oldest buildings here in town would have been built by many of them, even possibly some of the brick and limestone, cut and formed by them. So we got to hear about some of those people, including some people that were really heroes in Jefferson City. And we also got to hear and stop at the site where at this time it's the first known recorded public sale of Black slaves in Jefferson City. This was at the Rising Sun Tavern and Inn. It's where the Ameren building stands on Madison, right across from the governor's mansion. So Ameren does have a little sign there, but the sign says it was the Rising Sun Tavern and Inn. I don't think they were aware of these Black people being sold. We do know the names of the of the adults. The children are just described. So we need to talk a little bit about the next steps and see what people think. I know one gentleman who got off the trolley said, I want to make sure Ameren gets a plaque up that recognizes these people, and if you need help, let me know. So I don't know if that's where we want to start. I'm working on doing research for a book about the people who lived enslaved in Jefferson City up through the Civil War. And my goal will be to find every story I can and every name I can. But so there are other records of people being sold at the courthouse and publicly at people's homes. But this is the first known recorded sale in 1833. So do we want to start with talking to Ameren about doing a good size plaque honoring these people that's visible, or what are your all's thoughts?
Yeah, I think at a minimum, right? But yeah. And it's funny you mention that. I've got a meeting with the Ameren CEO on the 30th, I think. So
okay.
Yeah, that might be one way to at least broach the conversation, and we can take it from there. And truly, Julie, you put it right. What does everybody else think? What are our thoughts about that?
Anybody else have any thoughts? I did envision, once I've gotten my research done, which about a year ago I said to take me a couple years, and now I'm going to say it's going to take me a couple years still. But because it's a lot. But I do envision, at least when we feel we have a really good listing of people who were sold, like at the courthouse steps, us doing something at the courthouse. Because I think these people need to be recognized for what they went through. And even at some of the private people's homes where they were sold, if we find those locations, I think that would be worthwhile too. But I think that's a ways down the road, simply because unless we don't want to name people's names, we could always stop and do that now, but we don't really have the names of everybody that happened with. And there might be other Rising Sun people, but these people were the first recorded in the court records at this point. So. Yeah. Yeah, I can on our next meeting, I'll bring up the picture of the Rising Sun Tavern and Inn. Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think so. Most people maybe don't realize that Jefferson City and Cole County about 1822, 18 some 1819 to 1823 is when Jefferson City and Cole County really started getting settlers in. And these people came from the South. They were Southerners and they brought along the people that they had as slaves. So that's where, up until German people started coming in about 1830, more in 1840, 1850, who were abolitionists. Up until that, most of the people who came were Southerners, and they did carry on the traditions of the South, which included slavery. So in this instance, the Gordons built this. They were from, if I remember right, Virginia. And they built it there because it overlooked the river and people could stop and watch the sunrise on it. But yeah, it was the first tavern and inn in Jefferson City. Could be. Could be a relationship. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll find the picture of it and a little more information, and I'll share it on the next meeting if y'all are interested. Yeah, yeah, I have the picture. I just don't know if I can locate it that fast. But yeah, I'll share it out with you all next meeting. And if you're interested, just reach out to me and I'll share it with you personally if you want. Um, yeah, there are some really interesting stories. There's a great story about a young woman named Sloan who during the Civil War actually saved soldiers and some of the Jeff City population from being poisoned. So there's just some really great stories about people that have never been told. So some tough stories, a lot of tough stories, but there are really good ones. Yeah, we've been talking about doing more of them, but it's a lot of work because you have to get people who want to also participate in either being one of the characters. Now we only have usually a couple characters and someone who will come recognize the people who were sold. But and it's a little expensive because the trolley, is a little expensive. So we are talking about, and if you're interested in joining us, we need a group of people that are really interested in doing this. I know there's a lady from St. Louis who believes there would be a lot of people come up from St. Louis for trolley tours too, to tell these stories. So it's a matter of resource and getting them planned and really being able to make sure we at least break even. Yeah. Yes. Yes. If we do more than break even, the money would go to the NAACP. Yep. So yeah, if you're interested, just reach out to me or let me know and we'll put you on the list and start working on it. Okay. Well, we don't have one scheduled now. We did one on October 6th, and we really don't have anything at this point. It's going to take more effort than just me planning it. So it's mostly indoors. Well, it's in a trolley. So you're riding downtown. Jefferson City started at Madison Street downtown, is where that against the river where the governor's mansion is. That's really where Jefferson City started. It was nothing back then. It was just dirt and a few, log houses. But yeah, so we go down there and then we went to the alleyways because there's some stories in the alleyways. And then we went to the National Cemetery where some of the 62nd Lincoln soldiers are buried and told some of their stories. Yeah. Yeah. I think your high school students probably too. Yeah. 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 Those are good ideas. Yeah. It just depends on how many you get. If you get a full trolley, then it's going to be a little less expensive. If you get only 10 people, it's, we're going to have to charge probably $50. If you get a full trolley, maybe 15. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll sort of put you on the list. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'll put you down and maybe we can start talking about it. That sounds great. Thank you. What else do we have? What other business do we have? Does anybody else have anything on their mind that we need to talk about?
Hey, Rod,
Yeah.
are you going to be available after this call?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
He's
I'm going to
getting
take
ready
my
for the
Boy
trial.
Scout. Yeah, and then I got to go prepare for trial after Boy Scouts. If I get a second in the car, you want me to give you a call?
Yeah, I just want to know. Well, I sent an email to Lester, and he's going to turn this Black Farmer thing over to me, and I got to pick a date. And I don't know when you'd be free. You're going to be free in time next week after the trial,
Um,
maybe next Thursday.
Yeah, next Thursday. I tell you what, if you get a minute tomorrow, give me a call, and if I'm not there, then talk with Mary. Mary will tell
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Okay.
The answer is yes, but I don't know what the time looks like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be a great organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
else?
The only other thing that I can think to add is that we've heard from Wentzville where they're having a big problem in their school district.
Okay.
They're using terrible language, right, in reference to the kids. The parents showed up to stand up for their children at the school board meeting. We're on the agenda, and the school board called the police because there was an assertion that they were part of the Black Lives Movement. They're not connected. Turns out it's just parents concerned about their kids.
Well, what does it even matter if they're behaving?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and nobody said they were doing anything wrong. That's you nailed it. You nailed it. Yeah, yeah. So,
Weaponizing the police.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's similar to swatting, right?
Yeah.
Where so that's terrible. That's terrible. And to have elected officials that are doing that to their constituents. And then the other thing that I'll share with you is that in Sedalia, you remember there was an individual, and forgive me for not remembering her name right now, but she bought what was a slave cabin, and there was some controversy over it because it should be maintained or whether it should be destroyed, but whatever. Had the foresight to do that. That is real leadership and chutzpah. And so, but she just recently passed. She was 92 years old. Her services, I believe, are on Tuesday, but I could check for anybody in the area. See. So those are two things. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
There's a real debate in the South, especially, and we are part of the South now.
Oh yeah.
My research is what has brought me to that. We were and are a southern state. We were a slave state. We were not divided. The reality is slavery was legal in Missouri and in Jefferson City. That means you're a slave state. But anyway,
hey, hold on just a second. On
yeah.
that point, do you realize the state of Maine was only created so that the state of Missouri could be a slave state?
Yeah.
The Missouri Compromise, they took part of the state of Massachusetts and made it made the state of Maine. And that's why I've had people who wanted to argue with me about critical race, and you start explaining the Kansas, Nebraska, and all of a sudden they get mad at you for explaining the history to them.
Yeah.
That's right. And let me give you one more to grow on. We're the only state that's a southern state that didn't go through Reconstruction. If that's
right.
Tell me. Yeah. Yeah. And that might be some of the problem that we're having now, right?
Well, and Reconstruction was so short.
Yes, you're exactly right. Before you got to the Gilded Age, so to speak.
Only through Grant was Reconstruction had. So it was, but anyway, in a lot of the southern states, people are buying these properties that have slave houses and they're turning them into like Airbnbs, which is, just not good. So, because they're profiting off of these houses, these shacks, really, that used to have enslaved people in them. So there's a large debate. I've read about it several places where people have gotten extraordinarily upset. Not everybody's doing that, but there are people that are doing that.
We should be doing it. The NAACP should be doing it.
Yeah. 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 If somebody's buying it and just to make profit off of it, I think that's where people were having problems with it instead of it being. Yeah. 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 So it sounds like the one you're talking about, Rod, probably the question is what's going to happen to it. So if we can do anything on that, let us know. One other quick. You go ahead. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I think there's an effort afoot to do that. The president there is looking into options. The local NAACP chapter doesn't have the funds to do it, but I think that a library was set up, and so that might be one.
Okay. Well, keep us informed with Rod. That'd be interesting. Also, you might want to save the date, February 17th. There's a symposium on the shared history of Germans and African Americans in Missouri at Lincoln University. It's going to be really great. Cecilia Nadal, who is, I think, a cousin of James Robinette, she is part of the symposium, as is Gary Kramer, Dr. Kramer, and a couple of other individuals. And so it's really going to be great. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to go hear people talk about both the German connection to abolitionism and the Black experience with slavery, and how those two intersected here in mid-Missouri in Jefferson City. And one thing she has asked of us, if we want to sponsor it in some way, either by money, and I told her we're pretty poor, so I didn't know about that, or by helping coordinate, introducing her to different community organizers to help her. So I don't know what everybody thinks, but yeah.
That was actually run by a guy named John Wilkes in 1857, and he was a slave trader from England.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah, I know, and I don't mean to cut you off, but let's do that. Let's make sure that everybody knows we meet the same day, the third Monday of every month at 6 p.m.
For the holidays.
Yeah, I think we've been doing that for the last 14, 15 years. And
Yeah.
so it'd be awesome if we can, invite other people who may have forgotten or didn't know and just remind them that we're doing this. Let's do that together.
Yeah. I can send you the link that normally is for meetings. This one, because the meeting was on a different date, I set up a new Zoom for it, but I can send you the link. Glad you're here too.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. Seen a lot of that. Does Julie have your information?
Yeah, I think that's how you got the invitation, isn't it? From
Okay, good. Good. Well, look, let's do a couple of things. One, I know that we've got some backstage planning to do, and we need that kind of fire, that kind of enthusiasm on behalf of NAACP and social justice just generally. But then the other thing is, Julie, let's make sure that we get connected with the president there in Sedalia. And so some of those issues and thoughts that we had about, that cabin, we can see how that resonates with them in that community and move forward there. There's a lot of great stuff we can do.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Well, that's great. That's great. Well, and let's do that, and I know I owe a couple of phone calls here. We've got the voter ID trial that starts Friday, and so that's really just consumed me, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. And then very quickly after that, I've got another trial. So literally, two huge trials in a month. The one for money I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter to me the same, but I have a different place in my heart for the voter ID work. And so after that, but before the holidays, I look forward to being able to connect with folks and do so in a more consistent and reasonable manner. I want to thank everybody, if there's nothing else, for being here this evening. And let's plan on coming back. Again, we meet the third Monday generally of every month at 6 p.m. And there's so much that we can do. I know that we've got our holiday party coming. Please be looking for announcements on that. We have a growing membership. I'll tell you that. We just got another life member. What was it? End of last week, I guess it was Wednesday or Thursday. So let's bring our friends, bring our family, and keep doing this great work.
And I'll send out an email about when we're meeting next month, just because of the holidays. That may change, but otherwise it's the third Monday of every month at 6 p.m.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You all have a great night, and thank you so much for joining us. Good discussion.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
I'll call everybody I can, just as quick as I can.
Bye.
Bye-bye.